very good evening to you all. Thank you for joining us for the UBC News Tonight with me, Wadulo, Arnold, Mark, and Dorothy Namuyomba on sign language. Without further ado, let's take a look at tonight's top stories and then get straight into the bulletin. In our headlines tonight, Anita Among visits to retain her speakership as lawmakers cite her impressive performance. Israel and Iran exchange fires, regional tensions escalate. Government intensifies road safety campaign with Kampala Hoima Walk. And in sports, Sports Club Villa launches souvenir magazine to showcase achievements. Once again, thank you for joining us. We now give you the news in detail. In our first story, the race for the speakership is shaping up to the extent of the next major political contest in the country as newly elected members of parliament appear both publicly and privately to be rallying behind the incumbent Speaker Anita Among to retain her position in the 12th parliament. They cite her record of performance, unity and legislative productivity as justification for their support, arguing that continuity in leadership will be critical as the new House settles into its mandate. Let's take a look.
With the general elections concluded, the political spotlight now shifts to Parliament, where members will elect the Speaker and Deputy Speaker at the first sitting of the 12th Parliament. The outcome of this vote will define not only who presides over the House, but also the tone, pace and direction of the legislative business for the next 5 years. Although a few aspirants have expressed interest in the speakership, momentum appears to favor the incumbent. Bukono County MP and State Minister for Housing, Persis Namuganza, as well as the Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Norbert Mao, among others, have signaled interest in the position.
Today, I offer myself to serve as the Speaker of the 12th Parliament. Conviction that our Parliament can do better, stronger, more united, and more respected.
I'll also send a letter to each and every member of the 12th Parliament so that there's no confusion about what this is about.
However, many legislators argue that the role of Speaker demands tested leadership, deep knowledge of parliamentary procedure, and the ability to balance competing political interests in a diverse and often popularized House.
I support Anita not just as a matter of course, but she has demonstrated that she is a speaker that can unite the House. She's a speaker that is driven by achievement of results, that the 11th Parliament witnessed timely and quality processing of legislation and government business.
The reason why I really support her, she's for people, and I knew her for a long time. She loves people, she unites people, she's not segregative.
I would like to request that all my other members of Parliament support Right Honourable Anita Among Annette for the speakership of the 12th Parliament.
I would request that we give another term of office for the Right Honourable Speaker to serve again.
Without a doubt, we fear that the Speaker still holds ground to bring together Parliament and also foster government business.
I love it that she's somebody who commits herself to God, because she's one of the speakers that I've seen always go to Rome to visit the Pope.
Legislators from across the country, including the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Tayebwa, have been declaring their support for Anita Among to continue leading the House.
We are going to support the Right Honourable Speaker, Anita Among, to be Speaker of Parliament. And like she emphasized, she has been making it very clear. She wants to serve her last term. Then also me, I serve my last term as a Deputy Speaker. Hey.
The Speaker heads the legislative arm of government, presides over debates, interprets rules of procedure, and safeguards the independence and dignity of Parliament. Supporters maintain that her legislative record, mobilization strength, and capacity to unify members position her as the candidate best suited to lead Parliament through the next phase of Uganda's political and economical journey. Jamila Oluka, UBC News.
In more UBC News tonight, tensions are escalating across the Middle East after Israel confirmed that it carried out preemptive airstrikes on targets inside Iran, citing imminent security threats. Explosions rocked parts of Tehran early Saturday as Iranian state media reported that air defense batteries had been deployed. Israeli officials say that the strikes targeted military and nuclear-related facilities, including sites linked to senior political and security figures. Reports indicate that locations associated with Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Hosseini were among those hit. These are the details.
Your combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious group of very hard, terrible people.
The United States joined the operation with the U.S. President Donald Trump describing the assault as a major combat operation and urging Iranians to raise against the leadership. Tehran condemned the attacks as illegal and violation of its sovereignty, vowing swift retaliation. Israel's Defense Minister Israel Katz said the operation was intended to neutralize national security threats and curb what he described as Iran's growing military capabilities. A nationwide state of emergency was declared across Israel, with air raid sirens activated in several cities.
In a futile and deceitful talks with the Americans, our friends, and of course the Iranian tyrants have made a dire mistakes since the Americans are not falling for their lies, and we will not sit idly by as a threat of destruction is looming above our heads.
Iran responded with missiles and drone strikes across the region. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps said it had targeted U.S. bases and strategic assets under what it called Operation Truthful Promise 4. Plumes of black smoke were seen rising near the headquarters of the U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet in Manama, Bahrain, although the extent of the damage remains unclear. Missiles were reportedly intercepted in Qatar, the United Arab Emirates and Kuwait, all of which hosts U.S. military facilities.
Missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. It will be totally, again, obliterated. We're going to annihilate their navy. We're going to ensure that the region's terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the region or the world and attack our forces and no longer use their IEDs or roadside bombs, as they are sometimes called, to so gravely wound and kill thousands and thousands of people, including many Americans.
Temporarily closed their airspace, forcing flight diversions and disrupting regional travel. No official casualty figures have been independently verified. Iranian state media reported dozens killed in at least one strike, while Israeli authorities have yet to release comprehensive damage assessments. Russia condemned the attacks and called for urgent diplomacy. Israel and Iran have long been at odds over Tehran's nuclear ambitions and its regional influence. Previous confrontations have ranged from cyber operations and proxy conflicts in Syria and Lebanon to limited direct exchange. Regional leaders had in recent weeks been working to prevent escalation, mediating between Tehran and Washington. Analysts say the latest developments suggest Washington's aligned closely with Israel's security assessment, despite diplomatic caution from some Arab allies. Diplomatic efforts are now expected to intensify as world powers seek to prevent a broader regional war that could destabilize the Gulf and beyond. Saddam Mobale, Deogracias Habimana, UBC News.
And because this is a developing story, expect more updates as they come. The Minister of State for Transport, Fredbia Mukama, has commissioned the 500 million shillings Kenyonga Chikada hybrid trail bridge in Kakumiro district. Speaking at the commissioning ceremony, Biamukama reaffirmed the government's commitment in partnership with stakeholders to rehabilitate the deteriorating rural access infrastructure. He said that improved connectivity will ease access to health centers, schools and markets while boosting trade and agricultural productivity.
The minister revealed that the bridge, co-funded by the government and Fika company at a cost of 500 million shillings, is expected to last between 30 and 40 years. He added that plans are underway to upgrade more access roads to accommodate vehicles and heavy trucks. He also cautioned residents against vandalism and theft of bridge components.
We decided to respect this area and put something for them because you see the terrain itself attracted us. The terrain of here, it is not easy for government to make a bridge because we have equally other places which have given priority. So we have alternative bridges that side, but for this very area, it was not in our priority.
The country director of Fika, formerly known as Bridges of Prosperity, Katie Pauline Okelu, said the organization has constructed 44 similar bridges across Uganda and other countries, including Zambia, Rwanda and Ethiopia. She urged communities to safeguard the bridge and ensure long-term benefits.
And the construction of this bridge came as a result of the need that had come from the community because of the river that you can see, that stream flowing. So it has been a big challenge for the children to cross to schools, but also for the community to access health services and to take their produce to the markets.
The Bridges of Prosperity people got donors. They are so far in Ethiopia, Uganda, Rwanda and Zambia, 4 countries. Since they came in Uganda in 2017, they have so far built 44 bridges of this nature, the same like this.
Residents from Kenyonga, Kikada, Chisengwe, Majinga and Chisojo villages, including elderly persons, women and children, expressed gratitude to the government and Minister Biabakama for supporting the project. They said the bridge will significantly improve mobility and livelihoods.
Will be young children going to school, crossing from this side to the other side, and also supports socio-economic activities, but above all, safety for all road users.
Andrew Musenguzi compiled this report for UBC.
In a renewed push to curb the rising road accidents in Uganda, the Minister of Works and Transport, Edward Katumba Wamala, flagged off hundreds of participants on a road safety awareness walk from Kampala to Hoima. This initiative aims to sensitize the public on the responsible road use, promote adherence to traffic regulations, and also rally collective action to reduce road crashes nationwide.
Thank you, guys. The Minister of Works and Transport, Edward Katumba Wamala, has flagged off hundreds of workers embarking on a road safety awareness campaign from Kampala to Hoima. The long-distance walk is aimed at sensitizing the public on responsible road use and addressing the increasing number of road crashes across the country.
We have done a lot for this country, we're saving lives, and I hand you over the flag as you take the lead.
While flagging off the participants, General Katumba Wamala applauded the organizers for championing the road safety awareness and emphasized the need for collective responsibility among motorists, pedestrians, cyclists, and all other road users.
I know that people have always complained when there's an accident, the first thing which comes out, the roads are narrow. But you know it that the road is narrow. And the road is talking to you. It says, don't overtake in this corner. But you overtake, and then you get an accident, and then you say, the road is narrow. Ugandans, we are very, you know the signs we put on the road. Most of them are vandalized. By who? By Ugandans. Those signs are supposed to be talking to the road user, to warn you of what is in the next few meters ahead, so that you can use the road safely. But Ugandans think that those road signs are not necessary.
The minister also commended the Kampala Capital City Authority for removing roadside businesses that had been narrowing roads and obstructing traffic flow. He noted that such efforts are a key to improving road safety and ensuring smoother movement within the city.
The pedestrians are conflict with the vehicles on the road because the walkway has nyanya and has mangoes. But now at least the walkways are being cleared, and please KCCA, Tozikiza. Let's continue having our walkways clear, and also the ministry is going to also put our efforts there to ensure that our side drains, like in some of the areas where they had put traders put things on to narrow the road, are all cleared. We must have our roads safe.
Meanwhile, Joseph Beyanga said this marks the 5th edition of the Road Safety Awareness Walk. He encouraged the public to respect traffic rules, exercise patience on the road, and show consideration for other users.
Why are we doing this? Year after year, season after season. We were last year in November doing the Remembrance Walk, remembering the lives of the people who are killed in road crashes. Today, we are setting out to create awareness. And in road crashes, we have one preventable cause of death. Something that is wiping out 14 people every day. It's preventable. It's preventable if you and me drove carefully. It's preventable if the law enforcement officers did their job. It's preventable if all our roads are safe and forgiving.
Partners emphasized that reducing road crashes requires a joint efforts from government agencies, private sector partners, and individual road users, expressing optimism that the campaign will continue to create awareness and inspire behavioral change among Ugandans. Robert Katamba, reporting for UBC News in Kampala.
And in more UBC News tonight, Muslim judicial officers have been urged to uphold the values of integrity, patience and compassion as emphasized in the Holy Quran during the holy month of Ramadan. This call was made during an Iftar dinner organized by the Judiciary of Uganda through the Judiciary Muslim Association, bringing together Muslim judicial officers and staff to break fast in unity.
Speaking at the gathering, Chief Justice Flavian Zeija called on the Muslim fraternity to use the holy month of Ramadan as a firm reminder that discipline refines character, moral restraint strengthens leadership, and that justice must not only be grounded in law.
The principle of this holy month, to wit patience, self-discipline, and deep reflection, are remarkably similar to the virtues required of a jurist. Just as the first requires a commitment to a higher purpose, the law requires us to set aside the personal bias in the favor of the common good. Justice, after all, is a common thread that weaves through every great faith and every stable ecosystem. Therefore, this gathering here must affirm shared values of justice, dignity, accountability, and unity in service to the people. Let this holy month of Ramadan be a firm reminder to us all that discipline refines character, moral restraint strengthens leadership, and justice must be grounded not only in law but in conscience.
Justice Musa Sekana reminded the officers that Ramadan is not only a period of fasting, but also a time for self-reflection, discipline, and strengthening.
Let it remind us that our strength as a judiciary lies not only in the legal expertise, but also in our ability to collaborate, respect diversity, and foster unity in service to our...
Lady Justice Jane Francis Abodo noted that as custodians of justice, judicial officers must embody fairness, honesty, and accountability in their service to the society, and promised further support to the Judiciary Muslim Association.
Is more than a period of fasting, it is a divine invitation to introspection, discipline, and compassion. In the judiciary, we are entrusted with upholding justice, fairness, and rule of law, and the lessons of Ramadan resonate deeply within our daily work. Fasting teaches us patience and self-control. Essential qualities for judicial officers must deliberate with clarity, impartiality, and amidst all the complex cases. It fosters empathy for the vulnerable, reminding us that justice is not only merely a legal exercise, but a moral imperative to protect the rights of all citizens, regardless of faith or background.
The dinner served as a moment of spiritual reflection and solidarity among members of the judiciary.
School dropout rates remain persistent in Uganda despite efforts by the Ministry of Education and Sports to reduce them. Government initiatives through the National Curriculum Development Center, including the rollout of the competence-based curriculum, are among those measures aimed at addressing the problem. And as we hear in the following report, civil society organizations working with the Ministry of Education and Sports believe that effective implementation of the competence-based curriculum will reduce dropout rates. Farida Nafuka with the report.
School dropout remains a challenge. Many pupils who enroll in Primary 1 do not complete Primary 7, and the trend persists at secondary level. Former Commissioner at the Ministry of Education and Sports and board member at Uwezo, Tony Mukasa Lusambu, says primary enrollment once averaged 3 million learners progressing from Primary 1 to Primary 7. While international standards link dropout rates to education quality, Lusambu notes that the thematic curriculum, which emphasizes mother tongue instruction from Primary 1 to Primary 3, helped reduce dropout rates.
The national standards put it as part of our quality parameters because a child will not continue with school where he doesn't understand what is being taught, what is being learned. If a child doesn't understand what happens to him or her in a classroom, this child is most likely to drop out of and you could find that now retention levels at that level really went up. Many children who used to drop out at Primary 2, 3 were retained in school. Now problems start coming after P3 when they transit from the local language, their mother tongue, to the English language. So you'll find that research has indicated that most of our learners drop out at Primary 5, Primary 6.
Lusambu adds that effective implementation of the competency-based curriculum at O level could address dropout rates at even primary level.
Very happy if the competency-based curriculum cuts across so that learners really learn with understanding, because the competency-based learning really centers at that. The learners see what they learn, they touch, they discuss, they manipulate. It is learning by doing. Learning by doing makes a learner understand better than the theoretical learning.
Although the competency-based curriculum is a key intervention, parents and teachers' language towards the pupils also contribute to school dropouts.
Those who continue talking very negatively to the children in school, especially those who happen to grow faster than others. Hey, you have big breasts. You are just ready for marriage. You have failed my examination. You know, discouraging words which don't entice children to stay in school. So discourage their own children. You are as stupid as your grandmother, you are stupid as your mother, what. Those are some of the bad sentiments, or mentions which sometimes send our children out of school.
Experts also cite persistent absenteeism to poverty and domestic work assigned to learners during school hours as a contributing factor.
And there is this issue of poverty. Poverty is a very, very big challenge. Another survey was carried out about 7 years ago about the poverty pockets in our country and the school attendance levels. And you could see that the districts where poverty levels were high were again the same districts affected by poor academic performance. and the high dropout rates of school. So there is a lot of correlation between poverty and school attendance vis-a-vis school dropout. Government's issue is basically what we could call school fees. But there are other issues, there are other requirements if a child is to go to school effectively. The child has to get exercise books, some textbooks, especially for secondary school.
The State Minister for Higher Education, John Chrysostom Moyingo, says government has expanded school infrastructure and introduced free primary and secondary education to increase access, but the learning environment remains critical.
The government, particularly the government, we have built schools. This meant that we have more space for almost every Ugandan of school-going age. So this is something I think, in addition to what you have picked, we need to celebrate and thank God for.
It helped a lot in attracting more learners into school and continuing with the studies. No child would like to study under trees or under makeshift structures. Some of the learners were studying under structures which were very, very, very risky. And when it rained, they had to run away back home because they are studying under a tree, they are studying under a makeshift structure. But now government has come in, especially at primary level. Most of these poor structures have been addressed.
Behind the rising dropout figures lies the persistent issue of absenteeism in examinations.
For 2025 UCE exams compared with 2024 last year. On the one hand, this increase in candidature could be attributed to the low absenteeism, which was recorded at 0.5%. This clearly indicates that more of our children who transitioned from primary to lower secondary level 4 years ago stayed in school to the end of the O-level cycle. However, it does leave a lot of curiosity as to whether the competence-based curriculum that we have adopted for O-level has influenced learner retention in the system at this level of education.
Where the minister says the numbers of registered absentee candidates has continued to reduce. Yes, indeed, it will continue to reduce as long as these learners know that when they sit the examination, they will qualify for a certificate. It goes back to quality because they know that they will be able to write something that would qualify them for a certificate. Because under this competency-based curriculum now, many children are capable of passing.
Immediately after the COVID, we saw a big jump in candidature at PLE because of the ones that had been held back and some were jumped a class. So we had a big spike, and it appears this is the spike that has come through now at up to this level.
Civil society organizations such as WEZO and UNICEF have conducted research on school dropouts and proposed recommendations to address the challenges. I'm Nafka Farida in Kampala.
Thank you very much, Farida, for that in-depth piece on education. In more news, the Minister of State for Kampala Metropolitan Affairs, Kabuye Chofa Togabye, has urged the young people to invest in skills development, entrepreneurship and government employment programs to overcome the growing challenges of unemployment. Kabuye was officiating at the 8th graduation ceremony of Metropolitan International University in Mbarara City.
Metropolitan International University has graduated 2,535 students across various academic disciplines during its 8th graduation ceremony. While presiding over the ceremony, the Minister of State for Kampala Metropolitan Affairs, Kabuye Chofa Togabye, called on graduates to take personal responsibility for shaping their futures. He emphasized the importance of embracing the government's 4 wealth creation pillars, commonly referred to as the 4 ATMs.
So the beautiful NRM government has focused its attention on the 4 pillars to boost this economy. We call them ATUs, and promote growth and create opportunities for employment. Let the Buja government to the opportunities are here. 1, agro-industrialization, where we are moving from subsistence agriculture to commercial production, processing and marketing for it.
The Vice-Chancellor, Dr. Julius Arenaitwe, highlighted the university's progress over the years, but noted that corruption remains a major obstacle to critical national development.
As we gather here, not only merely to confer degrees, award diplomas and present certificates, but we are here to celebrate a very big milestone and transformation. Metropolitan International University started 9 years back, and in the 9 years, we are the first private university in Uganda to attain charter at that tender age.
Having attained its charter, the university is now focusing on implementing an expanded strategic plan, including infrastructure development, aimed at strengthening its contribution to Uganda's human capital growth, as explained by Board Secretary Dr. Gracious Ario.
We look at increasing the enrollment by introducing more marketing courses to this university. The service of honor, we are looking at establishing either a partnership with other investors or the university taking up the mantle to create decent accommodation for the students.
The commencement speaker, Professor Wasobalonywa, underscored the importance of building an educated society, noting that education plays a pivotal role in driving national transformation.
We're here today to recognize your effort, to celebrate your effort. We're here today to celebrate the effort of Professor Koch. We're here today to celebrate the effort of the founders of this institution. We're here today to recognize the role of education in society. And what is the role of education in society? Education has got a number of things it does.
The 8th graduation ceremony was held under the theme, Advancing Competence-Driven Education in an Era Defined by Artificial Intelligence.
Dokolo District is stepping up efforts to improve academic performance among rural children by confronting one of its most limiting challenges, the lack of electricity in most areas. We have a detailed report.
Out of the 60 government-aided primary schools in the district, only 10 are connected to the electricity, leaving the vast majority of learners off the grid.
And Dokolo has been one of the districts that has been struggling in the education sector. The literacy and numeracy levels are low, and this has translated into very poor performance at the PLE level.
When the school day ends, many learners return home to darkness. With no electricity, homework is done by candlelight or smoky kerosene lamps, and sometimes it is not done at all. The district education officer says the lack of lighting significantly cuts down study hours and affects academic performance.
And one of the challenges we have in the district is that most of the learners who go to school don't have access to facilities to enable them read effectively in the morning or in the evening because they come from rural homes.
In many schools across Doholo, more than 100 pupils squeeze into a single classroom. In lower primary, one teacher often handles numbers far beyond the Ministry of Education's recommended ratio of 55 learners per teacher, sometimes double or even triple that figure.
And also we understood that many children here still study without any sort of lighting other than things like paraffin, kerosene, wood.
It is against this backdrop that Child Fund Uganda, in partnership with Iconic Earth Foundation and Lango Child and Community Development Federation, has stepped in with a solar lamp distribution project targeting primary 7 candidates in selected pilot schools in Doholo district.
She's aiming at distributing solar lamps to at least 1,100 children in Doholo district this year, and then next year we also hope to at least distribute about 10,000 to 20,000 lights. These solar lights have a lifespan of at least 5 years.
Education stakeholders say that as rural learners compete on the same national stage as their urban counterparts, interventions like this could help narrow the performance gap. They argue that reliable lighting gives learners more study time, greater confidence, and a fairer chance at success.
When they go home, they will use this lamp to read from around 8 to 9 or to 10. That will enable them to get what they have learned.
The initiative is funded by the Iconic Earth Foundation, a US-based non-profit organization expanding its solar lighting program to Ugandan schools after successful implementation in Kenya and Zambia. Edi Ulwa, UBC News.
So, Muchara.
Yes, Daddy.
You know the children are going back to school and things are a bit tight. Huh? For now, why don't you take half of the fees to junior school, and for the school van contribution, we shall pay later. Huh?
Daddy, why don't we pay using MTN Momo, where we stand a chance of winning school fees for a whole year and more? By the way, you can also apply for a school fees loan, and also participating schools can win a school van.
That's right! Win school fees for a whole year and more. Get more goodies and a school van for participating schools. You can also apply for a school fees loan. Simply dial *165 *80# or use the Momo app.
It's back, bigger, and with more business opportunities. It's the Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo, Poate 2026, Uganda's flagship tourism event. Poate 2026 will take place from the 21st to the 23rd of May 2026 at the Speak Resort Convention Center, Munyonyo, under the theme Wanderlust. It's your time to thrive. Yes, it's your time to tap into Uganda's renewed optimism and tourism growth. Tourism stakeholders, travel trade partners, and tourism enthusiasts will be part of the Poate 2026. Come and network with like-minded people and unlock new business opportunities. To participate, register at www.poate.co.ug. Poate 2026 is brought to you by Uganda Tourism Board and partners.
Across Tilenga's host communities, families are accessing transformative opportunities. Youth are gaining practical skills that lead to employment. Farmers are getting improved yields and stepping into profitable value chains. Local businesses are joining supply networks once considered beyond reach. Women are accessing programs that open new opportunities and strengthen their voices and well-being. Families are benefiting from improved infrastructure that makes access to essential services easier, faster, and more affordable. Communities are shaping decisions, ensuring development reflects their needs. This is progress you can see, feel, and live every day. It is real shared value, where communities do not simply live near development, but experience it in their lives. And it's about growing together and building a future rooted in sustainable development.
Step into elegance, step into confidence, step into La Vie Boutique. Located at Grand Imperial Hotel, Shop 6 and 8, right behind Bank of Uganda, La Vie Boutique brings you high-class corporate and casual wear for men. From sharp designer suits and crisp shirts to stylish casual t-shirts, tracksuits, shoes and accessories, we've got everything to make you stand out. Call us on 0772 419 181 or 0705 555 558. La Vie Boutique, where class meets style.
Welcome back to still watching the UBC News Tonight, broadcasting live from Nile Avenue. We now take you into the world of business. The Commissioner for Dairy Development and Production at the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, Akankiza Samson Mpira, has reaffirmed government's commitment to providing policy guidance, technical oversight and regulatory support to ensure that the Green Dairy Investment Project contributes meaningfully to Uganda's national dairy development objectives. Akankiza made these remarks during the official launch of the Green Day Investment Project in Kampala.
During the event, Commissioner Samson Mpira urged district local government leaders and producers organizations to actively and transparently engage in the implementation of the project. He emphasized that the success of the initiative will not only depend on good planning and design, but also on disciplined and effective implementation at all levels.
About the Green Dairy Investment Project, it really comes in timely to complement and augment the government efforts and of course the private sector efforts that have been in place, and it is in line with the national development plans, NDP4. If you look at the 10-fold and agro-industrialization program, we are all looking at how can we have value, competitiveness and sustainability of this important subsector of the country.
The country director of IFA International, William Matovu, expressed satisfaction with the government's long-term commitment to transforming the dairy sector over the next 10 to 15 years.
The sector has moved, very tremendous steps. If I look where we were 10 years back and where we are right now, it's very much encouraging. It's a sector which has the potential of contributing significantly to the economic transformation of this country. Okay? When I look at the new 10-year, 15-year forward strategy that government has come with, agro-industrialization is a critical pillar within that strategy.
Meanwhile, the program director of GRASP and CEO of Agribusiness Initiative, ABI, welcomed the project, noting that it will strengthen value chains and improve productivity among dairy farmers.
We've conquered the markets, we've conquered many things. We've, overthrown, hitherto champions in the continent, including South Africa, when it comes to export of milk.
Happy and honored to partner with IFA International to ensure that we are able to transform the dairy sector.
Mike Wakawalindi compiled the story for UBC News.
African media leaders have challenged big tech companies over mounting concerns about artificial intelligence and its impact on journalism, as the fourth edition of the Africa Media Festival 2026 closed in Nairobi. The two-day festival drew over 200 organizations from 31 countries under the theme Resilient Storytelling, Reimagining Media Freedom, and these are the details.
Media practitioners expressed concern over the rapid growth of AI-driven platforms that are reshaping news production, distribution, and consumption across the continent. This was during the fourth edition of the Africa Media Festival 2026, held in Nairobi.
To understand the superstructures of control and should seek, even as they're telling stories, to shift from mere participants in the market to contestants in the market economy through ownership of the media houses, ownership of intellectual property, ownership of the tools, whether it's AIs, whether it's hardware, that are making the world of information more accessible.
It is the typewriter or the computer or the pen. You can use it for good and you can use it for bad. So AI, what we have to insist is that it's a facility that helps us do better the things we are already doing.
Participants further raised concerns about shrinking newsroom revenues, regulatory pressures, and the growing influence of digital platforms on public discourse.
I call it the development gravy train, where you do stories for health and all the rest, and funders were willing to support our newsrooms for that. That is no longer happening. Newsrooms, oh yes, newsrooms are adjusting. We've seen staff reductions. That's a permanent and pensionable thing. I think every 2 months, I keep on telling people this, every 2 months I won't be surprised to see a newsroom has cut down or sacked some people or retrenched. The word is retrenching.
I've heard people talk of the struggles of the newspaper, but the paper may be struggling. The news is not struggling.
Discussions also highlighted a shift in power from traditional media institutions to independent creators and decentralized networks, calling for new models of ownership and strong collaboration among African journalists.
We must create frameworks, policies, and laws that ensures that our data remains of service to us. We must also have data literacy that is able to make sure that the common African knows the value of their data points, be it their private data or be it shared data that affect their public policy issues.
The festival climaxed with the Africa Media Awards, recognizing outstanding journalists and digital creators across the continent.
One of you doesn't know, I am the first recipient of Creator for Good. Yeah. I am super, super grateful. I run an organization called Civic Rise Africa, and Civic Rise Africa exists to awaken the civic consciousness of not just the Kenyan youth. We dream beyond Kenya. We want to help other African communities better understand their laws and their policies, and specifically the youth.
Organizers noted that the future of African media will require transparency, accountability, and renewed commitment to ethical storytelling in the face of technological disruptions. Abdunasile Lobama for UBC.
Go on and pick at them coffee.
Are you looking for a home away from home? Then this is the place for you. My name is Chini Kaji, and welcome to Hotel Le Confidential.
With 84 comfortable rooms where you can relax and feel safe. Each room has a lovely view of green vegetation, Wi-Fi, air conditioning, and a tasty breakfast.
Children can have fun at our kids' water park and our kids' play area. You can also enjoy our world-class health club, spa, sauna, gym, boutique, and sky blue swimming pool.
Thank you for choosing Hotel Le Confidential, where every stay is unforgettable. Come and stay in comfort, right at home, today, tomorrow, and always.
So, Muchala.
Yes, Daddy.
You know the children are going back to school and things are a bit tight, huh? For now, why don't you take half of the fees to junior school, and for the school van contribution, we shall pay later, huh?
Daddy, why don't we pay using MTN Momo, where we stand a chance of winning school fees for a whole year and more? By the way, you can also apply for a school fees loan, and also participating schools can win a school van.
That's right! Win school fees for a whole year and more. Get Momo goodies and a school van for participating schools. You can also apply for a school fees loan. Simply dial *165*80# or use the Momo app.
Welcome back, and now in the world of sports, Sports Club Villa has officially launched a commemorative magazine as part of the activities marking 50 years of the club's legacy. Speaking at the launch, club officials say that the souvenir publication celebrates Villa's rich heritage since its founding in 1975. They highlight major milestones, trophies, and its impact on the football community in Uganda and across Africa. The magazine features in-depth interviews with top club leaders. Sponsors Linglong congratulated the club on the milestone, reaffirming their commitment to supporting Villa's future ambitions. The launch is ahead of the club's annual general meeting, slated for tomorrow, Sunday.
To be part of this event, to live in a time like this. 50 years of achievement, 50 years of existence of Sports Club Villa, the club I played for, and being able to see the launch of its first magazine, Souvenir magazine, is quite an achievement. Looking at the contents of the magazine, I reminisced over the many years, the people that one associated with in the past times, but more so, it's also, as has been mentioned, a celebration and a highlight of the achievements of the last 5 years.
It's a beautiful souvenir, and I also want to congratulate Villa and the entire team and the author who is here, Mr. Kawesa, for this beautiful, beautiful souvenir. And let me hope most of the fans, the members who love Villa will get a copy of this souvenir.
And that brings us to the end of our 8 o'clock edition of the UBC News Tonight. Thank you for being a lovely audience. My name is Wadulo Arnold Mark, and Dorothy Namuyomba is on sign language. Please do join us at 10 p.m. for another bulletin. See you then.